Sikubingelele sikwamukela ohlelweni asikhulume Let's Talk uhlelo nobongewe uMakhumalo waKwaZwane kule minyaka eyishumi edlule ihhovisi leposi laseNingizimu Afrika libe nezinkinga ezinkulu zebhizinisi ezihlanganisa igidigidi zezikweletu kubabolekisi kanye nokuqoqwa kabi kwemali engenayo. The post office has struggled to justify its existence in an increasingly digital world. Sikhuluma nje selifakwe ohlelweni lokutakula amabhizinisi phecelezi iBusiness Rescue. The recent developments at the post office raise a lot of questions. Is it possible to turn the post office around? Can it be rescued? Is it still an entity that is relevant?
Yeah, I mean, ngiyayisebenzisa iposi especially for banking and SASSA reasons.
Posene kunezinto kufuze ngiyosithumela khona ezinye ngisreceive khona post office some parcels.
Iposi especially thina basihwala umdende besinceda kakhulu basinesa sihlale itulweni manje khona manje babathema ATM. ATM is no good, it's dangerous because bayakubheka moya lapho mawuthi ukuhola imali hoza gogo ngikuncede gone with imali yakho. Neposi siyayithanda ngoba mawuthumele into ngeposi mhlawumbe ngithengi something ipostela ngani ifika kahle ngesikhathi.
Yeah, ke sebenzisa post office ke bank mo yona ene ke khona le gore tšhelete nyane ke na le yona ke ibeye and then ke khona gape gore ha ke na le problem fela ke ye ke lo ntsha ko yona.
I don't normally use it, but because I needed to certify and stuff, I just came to certify.
Cha sasebenzisa. Ngiyacabanga nje ukuthi since like as ages went by, technology advanced even more. For us youngsters, we don't see the use of post office anymore because like we have everything on our devices, but we need to send an email or anything and later just use our devices these days.
Izimvo zababukeli bohlelo iasikhulume Let's Talk lezo mbukeli sikhuluma ngeposi laseNingizimu Afrika kuleli viki that has been consistently losing taxpayer money since 2013, leading to job cuts and branch closures. We're looking at the importance of the state-owned company as a crucial government service platform which caters to millions of citizens and whether it can afford to cease its operations. Sikhumbuze ke mbukeli ukuthi ungaba ingxenye yalolu hlelo ngokusishayela ucingo sizwe umbono noma umbuzo wakho. Inombolo zethu ke zithi 01171406777 noma 011714068. Ungabuye futhi usithole kumakhasethi okuxhumana ku Twitter @SABC Izindaba kanye na ku Facebook ikhasi lethu SABC Izindaba. Ukuze kubelula ke mbukeli sicela uqale ngo #asikhulume #SABC News bese ke ubhala umbuzo noma umbono wakho. Asikhulume. Iposi laseNingizimu Afrika sekuyinkampani yesine yombuso yokufakwa ohlelweni lokutakula amabhizinisi. This comes after this entity was placed in provisional liquidation earlier this year because it failed to pay its creditors. What does this mean for millions who depend on this entity, workers and the creditors? Omunye wembuzo esizobe sidingida ohlelweni olungunqa phambili asikhulume Let's Talk nehambele zethu umnumzana uSipho Sono noyi-Business Rescue practitioner uDokotela Trevor Ngwane noyi-Director University of Johannesburg Sociological Research and Practice kanye nomnumzana uJerry Khodu ongumongameli wenyunyane iPostal and Communications. Nginibingelele nonke nginamukela ohlelweni.
Sawubona.
Babsipho ngizoqala ngawe. Siyabonga kakhulu baba. Ngizoqala ngawe asiqale ngokukhuluma ngokuthi kuchaza ukuthini ukuthi inkampani isi under iBusiness Rescue.
Thank you Sisbongi. Business Rescue, in simple terms, is a procedure which companies can avail themselves to be rehabilitated, resuscitated, or turned around, and it's available to companies that are in financial distress. So, in other words, a company that is unlikely to meet all its obligations as they fall due, within a period of 6 months. That's what it means. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Dr. Ngwane, ngize kuwe abantu abaningi bayakhuluma ngokuthi iposi bayalisebenzisa, there's so much that they do eposini noma mhlawumbe ukuthola incwadi noma ukuhola noma ukubeka imali, kodwa kubonakala ngathi kuneyinkinga kakhulu eposini manje.
Ya uhulumeni uhlulekile ukuthi enze kufanele akwenze ngeposi. Iposi lisiza abantu abaningi abahluphekile, kodwa uhulumeni
All right, ngathi connection ka Dr. Ngwane lapha ngathi iyasihlupha. Dr. Khod, I'm going to come to you. As a union, are you privy to what exactly has led the post office to find itself in this position?
Greetings to you, Bongi, and greetings to all viewers at home. Bongi, I am going to start saying we are talking about a historical entity in the country. The entity that has been established in 1792, if you still remember, by the former white man, Johan Isaac. So, very quick one, Bongi. Yes, there is a very, very serious problem that has been established that leads this post office into a dire situation. Look, I'm going to quickly make a reference to the court case that we are coming from at Pretoria High Court, whereby it has been established by the same government that fails to say, one, the post office has been slow to modernize itself. Two, it was not to be able to realign itself with the post office of today or post office of tomorrow. And three, it has been established that it has never been competitive into a courier and a parcel market. And I like one of the sentiments that has been shared by one of the senior counsellor from the department to say, we fail to regulate the courier services. It means the government fail a business, Bongi, as you can say. And where we are sitting as the park, we are saying there is still a very good opportunity for this post office to find its second life. Should we find yes.
Pardon me for Hukena Hanung. This failure, it has had an impact mobasebeting because
that is why I wanted to say, and Bongi will pardon me, where does the employees fit in? Because the sole owner of the post office is this government. And we are moving to say from where we are sitting as the union, the post office can still, because now, as we are sitting here, Bongi, it has been, there is an undertaking that says out of the 2 billion that post office has been given, has been bailed out with, there will be additional 3.8 billion should post office fell into a business rescue proceedings. Now we are saying, going back to 2014, under the Minister of Siyabonga Cwele. Siyabonga Cwele made that again promise post office that the government is going to give us a 30% of business to post office to make sure that post office is going to stand by itself. So we are saying, Bongi, it's very much easy. We are just calling for the government of South Africa to say, please bring that 30% of business to post office, and then we can see where post office will take its direction.
Yeah. And I'd like us to talk about that when we come back from the break. Ndate Sono, one of the things, though, that one asks is, the people who are owed, the creditors, are they going to get money, their money, particularly when you look at a business rescue arrangement?
Yeah. That's a very good question, Bongi. They will get some money. How much of what they are owed is something that will only be clear once the business rescue plan has been prepared. And what determines how much they get is exactly how much funding is available. In this case, I'm aware that there is 2.4 billion rand that has been spoken about. And now I hear that there's another 3.8 billion. So that is a good start. But all of that money is going to have to be split towards various needs. Firstly, the money has got to be used for the post office to operate. So you need to be able to pay employees, you need to be able to pay for whatever services that the post office receives, and thereafter then you determine how much money is available to pay to creditors. They may get some sense to the rand. How much, what sense to the rand is nobody knows at this stage.
And I'd like us to talk about then the kind of plan that gets drawn up during this process, and what factors does it take into account when we come back from the break. Mbukeli akasithi shelile edolo siyabuya. Sikwamukele mbukeli, kanti uma uqeda ukuhlanganyela nathi sikhuluma ngeposi laseNingizimu Afrika that is under business rescue. Sibuza ukuthi kusho ukuthini lokhu kuyinkulungwane zabahlali baseNingizimu Afrika abasebenzisa iposi, including creditors eyifana no-Post Bank ezikweletwa ama-billion wamarandi. Ake sizwe ukuthi bathina babukeli about the implications of the failures when it comes to business rescue ngaphambi kokuqhubeka nehambeli zethu.
Mina ngibona kuzoba inkinga kakhulu kubantu abadala, because abantu abadala usually bajwayele ukusebenzisa system yaseposini for ukhola. Nama bank amaningi abantu angithi bakhala ngama bank charges. So iposi ine zero rate charge.
Mase ukhola umdende uthi mall uthi Pick n Pay or Shoprite ikhuya khona engaka. Enabo gogo abaningi baphuza amapilisi. Mar post office bebasineka even ama-sandwiches ne-soup.
Batho ba bangata ba ka fella ke mebereko ya bata ba tsara batho ba ile dula ko magae bana ba bolae ke tlala mola ile gore be ba khono bya borotho ko tafoleng.
For me it's important because I receive my books from Eposin, so obviously my value is going to be a struggle.
Wona SSC esithembele kuthi thina singa esqhebe ngoba ikona asizango nangomholo angithi ngiholelwa khona.
Mbukeli ake siqhubeke sibheke lolu daba sibone ukuthi ngabe ikuphi okungenziwa ukuthi iposi likwazi ukusebenza kahle. Udokotela uTrevor Ngwane sesenenkinga yokuthi sixhumane naye asikakwazi ukuthi simthole, kodwa siqhubeke nehambeli zethu. Babsono, I'd like us to really look at, the plan that needs to be put in place. Ukwenza sure ukuthi mhlambe imsebenzi ayilahleki yonke and futhi abantu abakweletwayo neinkampani ezikweletwayo ziyakwazi ukuthi ikhokhelwe.
Yeah. There are a few things that need to be in place. The first one we've already spoken about is financing, which is post-commencement finance. It's a very, very key. If you don't have post-commencement finance in business rescue, that business rescue is likely to fail. So that, we can say it's a tick. Whether it's enough or not, the business rescue practitioners will establish that. What would then need to happen is the business rescue practitioners would have to look at the business of the post office, the services that it renders. Are they in demand? Is the post office making enough revenue from those services? If you look at the financial statements for 2022, we will see that the post office only generated 3 billion rand in revenue. But its costs were far in excess of that, resulting in a loss of 2 billion rand. Now that has got to be remedied. New sources of revenue would have to be found as part of that business rescue plan. In the event that you can't find new sources of revenue, then the next best thing to look at is the costs, where you would then have to cut some of these costs. Unfortunately, it will lead to job losses. But at the end of the day, what is important is a certain number of the jobs need to be saved, rather than in a liquidation where you would lose everything.
Tata Khodu, according to the unions, is this the best way to deal with what is happening at the Post Office Business Rescue? Is that the best option?
Thank you, Bongi. We welcome the application or the proposed motion of a business rescue purely because it is coming from the government, and we believe that the government is coming to correct its failure, but not on the expenses of poor South African, because it's going to be a disaster, Bongi, I can tell you. When you look generally, the workers, Bongi, are just mandated with a contractual obligation to come and render their services and be reimbursed with a monetary value. That is the role of the workers, and the workers are doing that. And they're doing it absolutely on 100% basis. And equally, when we look at the mandate of Post Office, the mandate of Post Office is a linking of government, one, to business and consumers, from local into abroad or international. So we are saying, as DPACU, without Post Office in South Africa, Bongi, is just going to be a disaster. And we are making a humble plea with this government to say they must correct the blunders that they have made. Those issues that have been mentioned earlier, that has been established as the failure of the Post Office.
I suppose, though, also it needs to move with the times. I mean, we are now in a technological era, and it cannot be argued that it's competing with courier services.
You are very much correct. One of the, when you look at the Post Office of tomorrow and the turning around strategy, is talking about the modernization of Post Office and top up the bar in terms of competitive in Korea and parcel market. Those turnaround plans, we're talking purely about that.
All right. And you know, one of the things that we did as the show was to invite the department, actually, that is responsible for this particular entity, but we did not get any joy. And I wonder, what does that then say as a union to yourselves in about 10 seconds for you, that the people that are supposed to be doing this were not available to even come and give the public answers?
Yeah, they are portraying the real of them. It means they are having a malicious intention with the Post Office. It means all those applications that they are made in public, it does mean nothing, but means that they are malicious. They are actually wanted to sell this Post Office to themselves, because they should be coming and telling us the plans as to, because we are giving them every time to say, this is the best way to do in order to make sure that this business is going forward successfully.
Yeah.
But we seem not to find indeed joy from the executive management. So that is why we are emphasizing to say, the Post Office is not actually having a problem on the ground. It's having a problem, problems from above.
All right. And I want us to, you know, just when we come back from the break and we are then looking at solutions, how do you begin to fix that problem then at the top? And Baba, other people don't have confidence in a business rescue process.
Yeah.
How do you begin to remedy that? Kodwa Mbukeli, siyabuya ake sithishelele idolo. Siphetha Mbukeli sibheka isombululo nehambeli zethu. Ntate Sono, let's talk about this ngoba abanye abantu bake bathi abanalo ithemba when it comes to the business rescue process. How do you begin then to resolve that?
Yeah. The reason why currently the business rescue regime has not been a resounding success is firstly, many companies delay to recognize their financial distress and only avail themselves when they have run out of all solutions. And then the second part is the business itself. We are operating in a free market economy. Not every business is going to succeed. There are businesses that will succeed. There are others that won't. That's just the nature of the beast. Now, in South Africa, it's still fairly new. That is why the success rate is still low. But as more companies understand the procedure and avail themselves of it on time, I think the success rate will change.
So it's not all bad.
It's not
about the timing
bad. It's about the timing issue. For example, if we talk about the post office, somebody had to take the post office to court to force it into liquidation before government thought about placing the post office in business rescue. That's very reactive. This could have been done a year or 2 years ago. The result would have been different.
Dr. Khodu, you spoke about something very critical, and it doesn't appear at grassroots level on the ground as far as the post office is concerned, but butata bukwa kodimu koditloho where management is concerned. How do you begin to resolve that?
Bongi, it is pretty simple. If post office can at least fix itself on a top management level and find people who are competitive, who will be able to understand the business better when they are coming with this corrective, because there is a corrective measures that they put in place as government, the issue of modernization and the issue of competitive, because they concede that there has been a failing, particularly in regulating some of the business licenses and modalities, like in Korea. They fail to regulate on courier services, and there has been a mushrooming of courier services across the country in particular. And we are saying, with post office, should those businesses regulated appropriately. Most of South Africans, because post office is their traditional entity, that they've been making a business. You can look at what I've been saying when I started with the show, 1792 establishment. It shows you that post office is actually our heritage in the country. Therefore, should post office is not going to exist anymore, Bongi, it's going.
All right, we appear to have lost Ubab Khodu there, but we did get a sense of what he's saying. Babson, let's then wrap it up with this, because one of the things that is clear is that though even post the business rescue, process, there's got to be a business. And how does it begin to function in a technological space, I guess?
Absolutely, I agree. I mean, we look at the services that are rendered by the post office. The delivery of mail, I don't think that is in high demand. We use technology, as you know. We WhatsApp, we send emails. So the days of posting mail are gone. So that type of service will have to be scaled down significantly. But we will also need to have a look at the post bank, for example, how it can be grown to deliver more services. And maybe some of the people that used to be on the mail delivery side can be retrained and moved into the post bank side. There's also the issue of distribution of of social grants, which is quite important, and the post office has played an important role in undertaking that function. So those are some of the functions that may have to be strengthened. So that business rescue plan is going to be very important. It's going to be informed by the turnaround plan. I do understand that there have been iterations of turnaround plans in the past. So I imagine the business rescue practitioners will look at those and take the best out of those plans and implement a sustainable solution.
Well, you've taught us a lot. Thank you for explaining exactly what the business rescue process is all about. Now we understand even better, and I'm sure the viewers do as well. Sibonga kakhulu mbukeli sinqonqoza ngokuhlanganyela nathi kanye nehambeli zethu Sipho Sono no-business rescue practitioner uDr. Trevor Ngwane nongu Director University of Johannesburg Sociological Research and Practice kanye nomnumzana uJerry Hodo ngumongameli wenyunyana i-Postal and Communications. Asethembe ukuthi ingxoxo izoqhubeka emakhasini ethu okuxhumana. Sikhumbuze ke mbukela ukuthi siyatholakala ku-SABC Plus kanye naku-YouTube. Okakhumalo wakwazane nethimba le Asikhulume uthi nisale kahle.